Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, here to give you your daily dose of the RARs as I talk about the stupid and sometimes just kind of curious things that are happening in the world of technology. Do remember I do these videos in order to support SiliconDojo.com, free hands-on technology education in Durham, North Carolina. Soon coming back to Asheville, North Carolina. We have a class coming up on AI computer vision using something called the Moondream model next week. We're going to have a class coming up on pushing AI to the edge with Raspberry Pis and another few weeks. If you're interested in these classes, take a look at SiliconDojo.com for our schedule. If you want to help support free to end user education, there's a donor box link down below. And with that, I guess we're talking about RISC-V now. And I think this whole RISC-V conversation is kind of an interesting conversation because it shows you that the world of technology sometimes goes in directions that you're just not expecting, right? So any young people out there right now, any young people at this point in time think ARM processors are completely normal, right? If I tell you that my new MacBook Pro, whatever, $20,000 computer has an ARM processor in it, you shrug your shoulders and go, yeah, of course it will, right? But the thing is, again, for me, I've been doing technology since 1996. I remember when ARM processors were pretty garbage. They were pretty garbage. I remember when the big thing with ARM is ARM ran things like BlackBerry Pis or whatever. Again, low power consumption, didn't require a lot of power, so it was good in mobile devices. And, allowed you to send emails or whatever from your BlackBerry. I remember when Atom, right? Intel realized that low power CPUs were going to be a big market. And so Intel came in with their Atom processor line. And I remember looking at ARM and looking at Atom and going, oh, poor ARM. It seemed like ARM had a good idea. It seemed like ARM was a pretty decent business. But I guess Intel is just going to crush them now with their Atom processors. And now you might be sitting there going, what the fuck's an Atom processor? Because that's just not how it worked out, right? For whatever reason, ARM took off, Atom cratered, and Intel, who knows what's going on with Intel right now. So anyways, I find this interesting with RISC-V. So the cool thing about RISC-V is an open source hardware standard. So just like you have open source for Linux and open source for other things, basically the idea here is that the entire architecture is open source. So anybody can use it, anybody can add to it, the whole nine yards. So Intel is proprietary, ARM is proprietary but licensable, and so this is anybody can use it. So when people started asking me about RISC-V a number of years ago, I wasn't snarky against it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. But look, when you're looking at a kid with a fucking bicycle helmet on their head and they're eating glue, you don't be snarky at them. You're like, wow. They're doing good. They're on 2 feet now, aren't they? Wow, they're 10 years old and they can walk on 2 feet. That kid is gonna go somewhere, right? Because that's the thing. Like, you looked at RISC-V, you know what? There's nothing to be snarky about. It was like, yeah, it's eating glue. It's eating glue. What do you expect? It's an open source CPU standard in the era of x86 and ARM. I mean, it's fine, but where's it gonna go? Well, I think the interesting thing over the past number of years, especially with the fight between the Western world and China, is that there's been more and more push for an open source standard for things like CPUs as the Western world starts cracking down on who can use the intellectual property of things like processors, right? So we have under the Biden administration, we have the AI diffusion rule here in the United States. We have a whole bunch of weird export controls under Trump right now. We have a whole bunch of weird stuff going on with Europe. And basically it's becoming a bigger and bigger disaster. The idea being is that if we create something, then we have ownership of that idea, which is its own weird thing. And so one of the big things to be thinking about in the technology world is sometimes it's really not about the quality of the technology. Sometimes it's not about the price point of the technology or anything else. It's just simply what is accessible. What do you have on hand? What do you have licenses to legally use? I talk about with the Chinese AI tech stack. And honestly, as far as I can tell, up to a few years ago, they would be on our AI tech stack if we weren't jackass. promises. The issue is we're not allowing them to buy our hardware anymore, and so they're having to develop their entire own tech stack there, right? They don't want to do it. They would prefer to hand us hundreds of billions of dollars a year, but if they can't do that, then they'll build their own thing. And I think that's basically what we're looking at with RISC-V right now, is that the dynamics of the world, the geopolitics of the world have changed to such a degree that there's more and more investment and more focus on things like RISC-V, so people have compute freedom. And when I talk about like the Western world and China, one of the things that gets left out a lot of these times in conversations is the whole issues of, Brazil and Argentina and Kenya and South Africa and Thailand and Australia or other places, right? There's a lot of follow-on effects from these kind of restrictions that start affecting everybody else. And other places around the world, other countries around the world have been under the knee of the United States in the past. And so when they look, and other people in other countries look at what we're trying to do to China, they start thinking, look, the United States could try to do that to us. Right now, we are in an illegal war against Venezuela. Is it an illegal war? Is it an undeclared war? Is it we're just murdering brown people because fuck it, that's what we do for a living? I don't like it. Where's the declaration? I don't even know what the fuck's going on with Venezuela right now. We literally just confiscated an oil tanker. Like, where is that coming from? But think about that, right? We're doing that to Venezuela, and there's not been a declaration of war. I, as an American citizen, am a bit lost onto what the hell is even going on, but it's happening. The Venezuelans are getting hit by this because our president has decided to do it. Literally, Trump just came out today and says if Colombia doesn't start singing to Trump's tune, Colombia will get the exact same treatment that Venezuela is getting. What? I don't. And so think about this, right? You think about this with Brazil, right? Brazil tried and convicted this guy Bolsonaro of insurrection in Brazil, and because of that, Brazil now has a 50% export tariff on them, or a tariff on them for any of their goods coming to the United States. You look at the capricious use of American power on the global stage, and if you are a sane technology professional, you have to ask yourself, what is your risk tolerance to this abject insanity? Anything they do to China, anything they do to Venezuela, anything they do to Colombia, anything they could do to Brazil, they could do to your country tomorrow. And what happens to your infrastructure if you're no longer able to access X, Y, or Z? And so it behooves technology professionals to start looking at technologies like RISC-V, not because it's price competitive, not because it's twice as fast as a potato, but because, right? And so anyways, I think this is an interesting story about Qualcomm now. And again, the push. One thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, right? Qualcomm acquires RISC-V chip designer Ventana to boost CPU efforts. So it's Qualcomm, again, international company. They're buying this RISC-V chip designer in order to boost their efforts. And I would say this is one of those things where one shoe drops. The shoes continue to drop until all of a sudden it's 2035, and the latest MacBook Pro that costs $40,000 has the top of the line RISC-V processor in it. All right. I mean, until Apple went ARM, the thought that so many modern computers would be using ARM was absolutely and utterly ridiculous. Qualcomm said Wednesday that it has acquired Ventana Microsystems, a startup that was focused on developing server CPU technology based on the RISC-V instruction set architecture. That's the other thing about that's interesting, is the idea is that this is for server technology. The San Diego-based company said Ventana's expertise in RISC-V, a free and open source alternative to ARM and x86 instruction set architectures, will enhance its CPU engineering capabilities and complement, quote, existing efforts to develop custom Orion CPU technology. Qualcomm, which has already been using RISC-V for some products outside the PC and server markets, said Ventana's contributions will boost its, quote, technology leadership in the AI era across all businesses, indicating the broad impact expected by this acquisition. Quote, we believe the RISC-V instruction set architecture has the potential to advance the frontier on CPU technology, enabling innovation across products. Let's see here. Quote, the acquisition of Ventana Microsystems marks a pivotal step in our journey to deliver industry-leading RISC-V-based CPU technology across products. And so this is one of those things you just kind of take a look at and go, again, it may be. We may be getting to the tipping point for RISC-V. Back in January, Ventana said that it expected to start shipping this year its Soaring V2 platform for data centers focused on, quote, AI and domain-specific computing. This platform included a high-performance RISC-V CPU, as well as high-performance vector unit and integrated matrix math acceleration for AI workloads and other compute-intensive applications. So there you go. Again, and this might be a good time to start pushing RISC-V too, with the whole boom in the AI fraud, right? The AI fraud going on right now, it's not a bubble. It's just a fraud. It's just a fraud. But look, the fraudsters are buying, or at least trying to buy, a crap ton of hardware, and they're trying to outcompete each other. I think that's the other thing you have to think about. Again, the technology world is macro forces, the things that are going on beyond whatever it is that you're doing. So if you have all of these companies and they're all trying to gain an edge, and they're trying to gain an edge in different ways, right? Some are trying to get an edge on speed. But even when we talk about speed, some of the speed for AI is for training, like actually training the models. Some of the speed for AI is inference. Those are two different workloads. Beyond that, one of the things that companies are looking for are things like the power efficiency, right? So that's the thing, like RISC-V it's probably garbage at a lot of stuff. Hold on. Look, it's eating glue. It's eating glue. It's probably garbage at a lot of stuff. But it's energy efficient at doing some things. That might give it like the entree in to start being used for fucking something, right? And then if they start using it for that thing and they start showing that it actually has decent performance, then you start building on a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, at a certain point, you have a good product. Again, especially with China. China is gung-ho open source, right? The Western world is all about intellectual property. You own an idea. China is all about shipping shit. Right? So if China really jumps on board and more people jump on board and they're like, what do we want to invest in? Do we want to invest in proprietary? Right? We pay you all of this money all of the time and we still don't actually own a goddamn thing. Or we put money and time and energy into this open source project, and at the end of the day, we have access not just to what we created, but we have access to what all these other people have created too. Right? Again, in that environment, does it push RISC-V forward a lot more? I would argue that it's looking a lot better for RISC-V. Hopefully it'll grow out. It'll grow out of that paste licking phase. But who knows? Who knows? So what do you think about RISC-V? It's interesting. It's interesting looking at this too. Like Geerling, Jeff Geerling. If you don't watch his videos, watch his videos. He's good. But yeah, there's just he literally just got a framework laptop. Whew, he uses RISC-V. Like just a couple of days ago. Again, another interesting thing. Like you think about this with inertia and how things are working. Like I started talking about RISC-V, we're talking about more about RISC-V. Geerling, somebody else entirely I have no connection to. He starts showing off a RISC-V computer. Right? Is this the snowball that's starting to build for the CPU architecture? I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. Do remember I do these videos in order to support silicondojo.com, free hands-on technology education in Durham, North Carolina, hopefully coming back to Asheville, North Carolina soon. We have a class coming up on AI computer vision using Moondream model coming up next week. We have a class coming up on pushing AI to the edge using Raspberry Pis in another few weeks. If you're interested, take a look at our schedule at silicondojo.com. If you want to help support free and end user education, there's a donor box link down below. And with that, see y'all later.